Hi there, YouTube family, and welcome into today's video, which I am very excited to bring you, is doing a flawless foundation routine on a 50-year-old face. I just have a couple of things that I want to highlight and tell you before we get into the video. You're going to see my skin is very inflamed and very red today, and I even feel like it's kind of hot today because I was doing a bit extra exfoliation and I feel like I irritated it a little bit. So I first thought, you know what, I'm not going to do this. I'll do it on a day when my skin's not so irritated and inflamed. And then I thought, you know what better of a way to show somebody how the makeup works or how your foundation can be as flawless as a day that it's really, really bad skin day or a day that you're having a really great skin day. So this is not such a great skin day, but it did turn out okay. And I hope that is something that is really helpful to you. So please give it a thumbs up if you wouldn't mind. And here we go into the foundation routine. So what I have on today is I have my eyes done with my eyebrows done, and I actually do already have my concealer on. So first step with foundation is, what do we really need in order for foundation to look really good and on aging skin? And that is, I would say for me, and with my normal to dry skin, leaning towards being very dry in the winter time, is that you have to have hydration. So I've already moisturized. I've already done actually a double moisturizer this morning, but my skin still feels, because I do have whatever's going on with that inflammation, my skin still feels like it could use a little bit more. So I would say, you know, start with some sort of a primer water. And this one is just the Max Fix Prep and Prime. I have several others. I've used the Smashbox one. I've used the Hard Candy one. I love that one. So there are several that you can use. And I'll make sure that all these products that I talk about today, they're going to be listed below. I'm just going to spray my face and let that water just kind of sink in and make my face feel really good. But I'm not going to wait to do my next step until that's dry. And the reason is because I want to lock that moisture in. I have 3 different primer options that I'm putting out for you today. The reason I'm doing this is because all 3 of these are fantastic primers. They're at different price points. The NYX Angel Veil Primer, the Mally, Mally, this is Perfect Prep Poreless Primer, and then the Hourglass Veil Mineral Primer. These all, to me, act so much the same. They feel so much the same. They're just really good. I'm going to use the NYX one on the right side, your left, I suppose. This step, to me, the primer part, is every bit as important as what we just do on our moisture, because really, if you don't prime your face, if you're this age, your pores are going to show through. Your makeup's not going to last as long. Your makeup won't glide over your skin as long. I just feel like this is really important. The other thing I feel like is really important to do when you do this is, you know, you can sweep it across the cheeks and stuff back here, but up here where my pores are really big, I need to get a little bit closer to you guys. Up here where my pores are really big, I definitely want to press that into my skin. Going in to use a pump of the Mally on the other side, and I'm just kind of, you know, making sure that I cover every spot. This really is very close. I really don't need to be using both of them, but I just want to show you how close they are and what they do. And again, pressing it into these areas where I have lines, wrinkles, pores, all that good stuff. And then of course, go down into your neck and your décolleté just for the adherence part of your makeup. Okay, and on a day like today, I feel like I need to take all that discoloration that I'm experiencing and make sure that I color correct it. I do have a video all about color correcting, and I will list that below. What I'm doing is I'm first taking the yellow one and I'm going around to any dark spots. These are my age spots or my scarring that I've had for a long time. So just dotting that around. And then I'm going in with the green and I'm going to try and take over some of this redness. A little bit on my nose because my nose seems a little bit red. In that little fold by your nose, my chin, and especially my cheeks. Okay, now I'm just going to take a clean finger and I'm just going to dot those onto those places. And I'll start with the yellow because I don't really want the green to mix with the yellow, but I don't mind the yellow mixing with the green. Hope that makes sense. So I'm just dotting it around. That way I'm not dragging any of the product off. I'm just letting it sit on top of that particular blemish. And then same thing when I get into the green here, I'm just gonna dot it, or, you know, just kind of blend it in a dotting motion on my skin. When you use the green, you're gonna notice that you have a very sallow look to your skin, which it means it's gonna look kind of bluish or kind of, you know, like grayish type thing, but that's okay because that's going to take that discoloration down to a minimum. So I am choosing today, I'm going to be mixing. I'm a big mixer when it comes to foundations. The Healthy Foundation from Physicians Formula, and then my NYX Total Control Drops. This one right here, I love the feel of the Healthy Foundation on my skin, but it doesn't quite give me enough coverage. But the NYX is light enough, but gives fantastic coverage. However, both of these are in my summer color. So I'm going to be mixing in just a tiny bit of the LA Girl Pro Coverage. Please don't be afraid to mix foundations. Don't be afraid to mix your makeup at all. There's nothing wrong with it. Now, you will know within the first little while whether or not, you know, they will play well together. But usually all foundations are based in water and they have dimethicone in it, which is the silicone that's in your primer. So here I am just mixing these up, and I'm going to be mixing way too much to go on my skin, but I wanted to mix a little bit more so that I didn't have to continue to mix it later. Okay, so I'm just going to dot this around. And because it's a thinner formula, and because I've color corrected, hopefully I won't need as much. I do have a ton on the back of my hand. And then I'm just gonna blend it. And as I'm blending, I want you to notice that I'm really pushing the product into my pores. I prefer a beauty blender over a foundation brush because I feel like it pushes the product into the pores and really helps blur out the large pores. I do have very large pores. I'm not into menopause yet. I'm not starting menopause yet. At least my doctor tells me I'm not. But I've noticed that my pores have gotten bigger. My skin has changed drastically in this last year. So I feel like personally I'm probably starting into menopause a bit, maybe premenopause. I do have those few symptoms, but yeah. So anyway, just, you know, going along all of my makeup, and what I see when I put that first coat on is I see that there are a few places that it feels like to me that it hasn't covered quite enough. So one thing you can always do is just go back over it with the sponge again, press more of the makeup in, but what you're doing at this point is you're just using what's already on the sponge. You're not using more product. So that's going to give you a more natural look. Now, if you get to the point to where you feel like, well, I need a little bit more coverage, think about whether you want to do that with your foundation or with a concealer. Now, for me, I've already done my concealer, but I have a lot of redness right here, and I didn't bring my concealer down. I normally do bring it just a tiny bit down on top of that redness. So if you can see that, I just used a very small amount. Just blending as much as you possibly can to make that look as seamless as I can between the two. You get to this point, you're like, okay, it looks pretty good, and you've blended your concealer into it. You feel like you've got a really pretty good canvas going on here. You might look at your skin and be tempted to put more on. I would say fight that temptation at this point, because what you're going to do is you're going to go back in and you're going to put all of your other products on. I'm going to take this off of my lips. You're going to do your contour, your bronzer, all that kind of stuff, and it's going to make a huge difference. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to step through those really quickly, and I'm going to get them done so I can come back and show you what I mean by that. Just doing my contour. I do have a contour video for you guys. If you guys want to see that, it should be listed in the description box. I also hope that you noticed that I didn't powder right away when I was done with my foundation. It's because I use so many different powders on my skin right now that I feel like the powder will come in a minute, and I don't want to overdo that. I don't want to look like a cakey mess. So I do all the rest of my makeup first. Right now I'm doing bronzer and I'm just warming up my face. Okay, I'm going in with an Ulta Mineral Blush. I do have a video on blush placement. I have a video on just about all these things. I am going to update them for this year. You know, well, going forward, I am going to update them just because I've grown so much and you guys haven't seen those in the past. So I want to go ahead and update those for you. Now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to use a little bit of highlighter. Okay, you guys, so here we are at the point. I've already got all of my face powders on, except for I haven't put any powder over my foundation. What I would really like you to know, what I would really like you to take away from this is I don't use a lot of powder. Number one, I feel like you can get really cakey really quickly with powder. I'm going to use my Revlon ColorStay one. This is the translucent color. It reminds me so much of the It by Pores powder. So that's what I'm going to choose to use today. I'm also going to use a pretty fluffy brush for this one. And this is the It powder brush. And so I'm just going to go in there. I'm going to load this brush. I'm going to look for these places where I feel like my foundation is not finished. And what I mean by that, maybe there's still a little bit of texture showing through. Maybe you feel like you need a little bit more mattifying. For me, if I'm going to mattify, it's going to be right here on my nose and then right here on my chin. So that's going to be my mattifying part. Now, the part where I feel like I have really big pores would be straight down right here in the middle of my forehead and then right there on my cheeks. I really didn't even set my under eyes with powder. That's another video. But because I'm noticing such deep wrinkles under my eyes, I have a tendency not to do that anymore. So I'm just kind of, setting this a little bit and then down my neck, because obviously I don't have really any issues other than staying power for my foundation down there on my neck and my décolleté. Okay, once I've done that, now do I want to do a finishing powder? I always do, because I like my foundation or my makeup to look a little bit dewy. I'm just going in with the Ambient Luminous Light from Hourglass. I love these powders. I've fallen in love with them all over again. There was a time when I really wasn't a fan of them, but I really do like these. And I really kind of loaded my brush quite a bit. And I'm just going to give it a light dusting across my whole entire face. And down my neck. I'm not doing a ton, like I said, again, a light dusting. And then I'm even going to do, after I've done my whole entire face, I'm just going to lightly go underneath those eyes, just because that's a little bit of a light diffusing powder, and I'm not putting too much powder on there to make those look really dry. As a final step, I absolutely would tell you, go in with some sort of a finishing spray. This is from Algenist and it's called Splash, and this is a hydrating finishing spray, or fixing spray, whatever you want to call it. And then this one is from Flower Beauty and it says it's a hydrating setting spray. These aren't created equal, and I've tried a lot of hydrating setting sprays. For me, the Algenist one, it's the best one I've ever used for my dry skin. So in the winter, I'm going to turn to this every single time, and I still haven't found a dupe for it. This is pretty good, but this still contains a bit of alcohol. So this one for me is just one that I absolutely love. I just keep it because, number one, it does have those hydrating properties, and it's going to keep my makeup in place at the same time. Now, what I do is, at this point, I will take my beauty blender and I will go all over. Instead of just letting it dry normally, this really locks your foundation in, and it also puts that hydrating properties back into your foundation, if that's something that appeals to you. Okay, let me put my lips on so I don't look half dead with them off, and I'll be right back to talk to you. Okay, that's it, you guys. Lips are on, foundation is all done. I wanted to just highlight a couple of things. The number one thing is that I don't use a ton of powder. And I really feel like at my age, which is like the title said, at 50 years old, I do feel like this is the best foundation routine that I have found for my normal to dry skin. Now, if you have oily skin, you might need to use more powder. That's perfectly okay. But I still feel like the basics of this video is what you would use for an aging woman that really wants to have a flawless look on her skin. I'm a little self-conscious today about the things that are going on with my skin, but as you can see, it really blended out well. So I hope that you did enjoy this video today. Please give it a thumbs up if you'd like me to continue on doing this makeup at 50 years old, different parts of makeup, and I'm going to be breaking them down. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section below, and I would be glad to answer any questions that you have. Thank you so much for spending a bit of your day with me today. It does mean a lot to me that you do take a few minutes to spend with me. I hope you all have a fantastic week or weekend wherever this hits you, and I will see you guys all in my very next video. Love ya, bye!